Hey, look at me go. First time ever streaming ever. This should be fun. I felt like painting, so I decided I should probably just let everybody watch me be bad at it. There's such a market out there for excellent painters streaming, so I thought surely there's an excellent market for bad painting, because I can corner that real quick. Also, it occurs to me this matte is too bright, so I'm going to flip it over to the dark side. But at least you can see the awesome Lord Akalor, because Vanguard, auxiliary chamber, amazing. They're worth a shot at least. Alright, so on this screen I've got what I'm painting, which is going to be Venari Aralon Warden. Did I say that right? Because I just kind of guessed at the first two names. But anyway, Wardens. I've got a color shifting green paint. It's a Chaos Black base coat, or spray, and then another spray on top of that of Tester's color change or color shift paint that, oh, what is it called? Anyway, it goes from green to copper, which looks more like green and red. I don't know if it shows up on camera right or not, but I love it. On the screen, top left is just my obligatory logo. Top right is a list I'll be working on to record, and the bottom right is the paint scheme I'm currently doing on these models, just so you have an idea of what I'm working up to. Because Stormcast, yes. I still love Stormcast despite everything. Alright, so I've already done the sprays, because that didn't seem like that'd be exciting to watch. And I'm going to start with the yellow robes. And let's see. What is it? What's the name of it? Averland Sunset. That's going to be the base coat that I use. Yeah. There we go. Time to start slapping some paint on. And if you're actually watching, feel free to ask any kind of question you want. I'll answer anything. Because it's late. Kids are asleep. Everyone's asleep but me and Chris. I can be loud and it doesn't matter. And I'm thinking of doing this more when I'm painting, if I have time and the ability to do this when it's quiet. Of course, the term quiet I use loosely in this house. You'll likely hear the air conditioner kick on. It's like a freight train going through, but it is the middle of Texas summer, so it tends to be pretty damn hot. Alright, let's get started with the yeller. The old yeller. I am quite excited to play Lumineth, because Teclis looks awesome, and I like the story. He's the, like, terrible dad that everybody just wants to be in their life, but when he's there, they're like, maybe this was better the other way, but I do like having a dad. Hiding us are like the unwanted little brother that just wants to prove himself to dad. Or do they? I don't even know if they do. Am I projecting? Or is the Ideneth story actually they hate him because he wants to kill them? I don't know. I have the Ideneth book and haven't read it. But, I've read, cover to cover on Lumineth. It's just kind of ironic compared to what I'm talking about, so maybe I'm doing the same thing that Teclis is doing to them. Like, yeah, y'all are good, and y'all are here first, and it's not your fault you're messed up, but I don't care about you anyway. When I first started painting this army, like a week ago, I know the box has been out forever and I've had it since it came out, but don't judge me. I was bedridden because I had a voluntary surgery. We just had our third kid, so you can guess what that voluntary surgery was. But I decided, while laying in bed, flat, with a high-speed fan, ceiling fan on, I should paint models. while using a paper plate as a palette. Just full of great decisions. So I did, and that picture you see in the bottom right is the result of that. Which, you know, honestly, I'm not mad at it. I'm not the greatest painter in the world by far. I won't even put stuff in painting competitions. Well, correction, I will put it in a painting competition because I have no shame, but it deserves no victories. I can tell you that. But the paint it dried so quick. I was using gobs of it just to get one coat done. And, you know, it came out a little chunky, but again, as long as it's battle ready or better, I just am okay with that, because up to this point, there has been no one judging me on battle reports about paint jobs. So I'm like, okay, what I do is good enough. I don't have to be scared. Honestly, I just feel like this community is really nice to anybody that's willing to paint a model. They like don't care how good it is. If it's on the table with paint, they're like, yes, thank you. That's so much better than gray plastic or primer. Which is good for me, because that is about all it is better than gray plastic and primer. Always judging Chris. Look, just because your Nighthaunt are pretty and pink and well done and, you know, not just kind of caked on like mine is. I torture myself too by doing paint jobs like this, because I can't recreate the color on this armor with the color change paint, and I'm painting all around it. So if I hit it with any colors, it's stuck. I will try to get it off as much as I can by spitting on it. A common solution for me. But anyway, yeah, so I have to be careful, and I'm bad at painting, so it works out to be great. Super great. Just taking advantage of the fact that I've actually been inspired enough to paint lately. All it took was a month of vacation after having my daughter. Finally be inspired to paint an army. It's hilarious to me, though. The ultimate irony here too is that I'm painting the Lumineth Realm Lords, like ultimate uppity, we care about how we look army, and I'm like, decent paint job, it's good enough. That is not holding to the lore. Okay. Let's see here. You know what I should do? Oh, well, crap. I just hit one of the edges. But luckily, it's one I'll be hitting later with another color. So it doesn't matter. I'll just go over it later. I should do things like promote this. Tell people I'm doing it. Chris, will you get the link to this? Because I don't remember how to get it right. Will you link this to me in the chat so I can copy it and paste it? If you're hearing this still. If not, I'll figure it out here in a minute. Also, I'm lazy and like to use the same brush for every part of my model. As long as the tip is good. Honestly, just the tip, right? There's a lot of parts on here that I will accidentally hit other areas. But as long as I'm going over it with another base coat first, it doesn't really matter. It doesn't matter what you paint. Oh, the link to the stream, like whatever the link in your URL is for watching this, Chris. Because I can't remember how to find it. Like, there's a stream URL that I can copy and paste, but it's wrong. It's the one that I sent you the other day that sent you to, you know, I'm trying to give you a virus or some crap. Even though I wasn't. It's not online. My god, am I already done with the yellow? I should ramble online more while I'm doing this. No. There's a point where I just hit some of the green that I can't fix. Wet this up. Oh god, and spread it more. Ah! Keep drying it and keep swiping. Swiper is swiping. Alright, good. Got it. Oh, crap. Oh my god, I hit this spear so much. I can't believe that I've only broken one so far, and it's because I broke it when I was cutting it out because I dropped the whole sprue, the whole thing containing the sprue, and it caught it right in the middle and snapped it off. But luckily, just smacking it like this hasn't broken them yet. It's going to, probably mid-game and probably while I'm recording, but haven't yet. I could use some more detail on there. Or I guess, Chris, link it to me in a Facebook Messenger or something if you haven't already. I'll open that here in a second. Hopefully on the page no one can see. There we go. So new at this. Maybe I could do this myself and not be a lazy git. I will figure this out. Hey, I think I got it. Look at me, interneting. I get there. So if you follow Razor Tree Productions on Facebook, you'll get this link. Alright, we're getting there. We're getting there. Just remember how to post it in. There we go. Y'all can't see this, so this is nowhere near as exciting for you, but trust me, it's intense. I am drinking, painting, and streaming. Heckle me. I should copy that whole thing. Yeah, there it is. Maybe I could do Discord too. Look at me go. Yeah. Oh wait, I already did. Okay, cool. I forgot that I have a bot that does that for me. There we go. That's already going. Link to my YouTube stream. Okay. What do you mean, like the Phoenix, Chris? I'm rambling so fast I don't know what you're talking about. Or rather, I don't know what I'm talking about. I was rambling about painting in bed. Obviously, I'm not doing that now. I'm using a wet palette now. So it is a lot easier to spread this paint. And now, I think I rambled long enough that this coat has dried and I can do a second thin coat. I don't want to hit any trademarks, so I'll just say additional light coating on all this yeller. This is going by a lot faster than when I normally paint, I feel like. Where I think it's like on a road trip whenever you have somebody to talk to, it feels like it's faster. Oh, broken like the... Oh, yes, I forgot. The first time Chris and I debuted Phoenix Temple on the channel, I dropped something on top of the Fire Phoenix and it just snapped right off the base. Right on camera. I was like, yep, that seems appropriate. I'll leave it. I'll allow it. And I re-glued him. That's been like 2 years ago. And he's still on the base. Every other Phoenix, I have 2 other Phoenixes, and they've all upgraded, I say upgrade, to magnets. Because once they break so bad, they can't be fixed. I just put a magnet on them in some way and say, alright, that's what you're sitting on. And I keep threatening that Fire Phoenix. Like, look, buddy, you break again, you're getting the magnet. Hasn't broke yet. I've dropped stuff on him, I've dropped him, I've bumped into him 1,000 times. He is holding on. He must be averse to magnets. Which is good, because I don't even know how they work. Oh, it was the... Yeah, I think it was the measuring tape, you're right. I dropped the measuring tape on it, which I do on something. Luckily, always my own models, but I do on something every game, I think. I always get overexcited when I'm measuring and drop it. Just not used to measuring those kind of distances, know what I'm saying? I am excited to film another battle report soon. Which, in case you were wondering, in the top right is the list I want to film with next. And if you have any questions about it, I will talk about it and scroll around and let you see it. But until then, there it is. There's the teaser shot. And if you are not aware, the bottom right is the color scheme I'm currently painting on these wardens. That is what I'm working up to. And if you don't mind sharing this link, I think I'm going to go ahead and put it on the Warhammer Facebook page too. Whatever. I want to talk to people. I want people to speak with me or troll me or something. Kind of fun. I'm going to do it. Here we go. Verb. Well, I just put paint on the brush. I shouldn't do that. Let me use the paint I just put on my brush, and then I'll be right back. By be right back, I mean I'll be right here, but I won't be painting for a second. There you go, that uses that up. Alright, let's go promotify this. Chris, do I sound okay on this? Because I've got the mic really far away from me. I just didn't want it to get in my way. Here I go, going to share this with people. Share to a group. Let's see, who would care about this? Let's go with... probably Lumineth Realm Lords. Yeah. We'll call it good. I'll just leave that up right there, and if people don't show up, I should share it more. Since it's my first time, though, I don't want to be like spamming it everywhere. Like, everybody come look at this. Why? Because it's good. How do you know? I don't. I don't know. Never done it. If you're witnessing this, you're witnessing my first time live streaming anything, aside from trying to test and fail. I mean, why ain't this working? I tried to live stream. I tried to live stream video games, but my computer is quite old, and it can't handle it. I was trying to live stream what Shadespire and Tabletop Simulator, and completely unrelated to Warhammer, but Conan Exiles. To no avail. But apparently if I just have video and audio, then I can stream just fine, it seems. I haven't had any alerts yelling at me yet on YouTube, telling me that I'm dropping frames every second and a half. Alright, almost done with this second coat of yellow. And we'll move on to the white. Right now I'm doing the yellow on the robes. There's a lot less yellow on the regular wardens than there is the high warden. I really can't wait to play this army fully. But I am considering trolling and doing a list that's just the starter box and Go Trek. Just because that's 1,000 points, and hey, sure, let's go. And then, it's funny, I was all proud coming up with a 2K list with a few models and realized I didn't have enough battle line if I did it. Like, wait, so if the starter box is 1,000 points, 2,000 points, I could just add Techless and a Battle Cattle, the generic one. That's 2K, yeah! Oh wait, that's only 2 battle line, dang it. So, I actually like to put more models in for a 2K list. I think I'm the only Lumineth fan that's excited that they're coming out in September instead of sooner, because at least now I have time to paint the box up before the new stuff comes out. Oh yeah, Chris, there's gonna be all kinds of elf on elf action now. I mean, I've got my Darkling Covens that are mostly, they're painted enough to be on video, but they're still not done. But I've got obviously my Phoenix Temple, because I tend to play those, I hear. And now Lumineth Realm Lords. And I swear, when Malarian's elves come out, if they're even elves, like they'll be elves, but there's a lot of hints about them being like mutants and creatures and demons and stuff. Makes me wonder if they're even going to be Order. Be cool if there weren't. Because I think there's either an Elven Civil War on the way, or there is an Elven Rebellion against Sigmar on the way. Because Techless, he's a bit sensitive. And I don't think he's a fan of the gifts that he gave Sigmar, the Penumbral Engines, or whatever they were before that, became Penumbral Engines, thanks to Grungni, or I always get the two Dwarden gods confused, but he had them change them into what they are from what Techless had, the elemental or enlightenment engines. Am I right there? Enlightenment engines? Either way, I don't think he's going to take that well, and I feel like there's a rebellion coming. Maybe even like a split into Grand Alliance elves, the 5th Grand Alliance. Which sounds cool and all, but honestly, I would like it better if there was just a spread of elves through the factions. Actually, something that, the store around here that I play is the Card Shop Games in Granbury, and the guy that runs his name Jonah. We were talking about it the other day, and he brought up something I hadn't even considered. I was considering Malarian's elves being possibly chaos, and he was like, well, if there are all these monsters and creatures like they're hinting at, what if it was a destruction faction of elves? Well, that would be hilarious, and I would be down. I don't think it will, but I am all for talking about that. All right, I think uh, my TTC, my terrible two coats of yellow, are about done on this fellow. The bottom right on my screen is the color scheme I'm going for. It's the picture of the High Warden I've finished already. And the top right is the next list I want to record with. If you want to hear about it, leave a comment. We'll talk about it. But now I think I'm ready to move on to white, which in this case is actually Celestia Gray. What's crazy, Chris, is a lot of these paints are the same paints we bought when we first got Age of Sigmar, like 2 years ago, or 3 years ago. Has it been 3? Jeez, it's been 3 years. We have really old paint. It still works. I mean, yellow does seem to need more coats. I still do 2 coats. They're probably not the thinnest of coats, but I do them. It's something, though. All right, now for white, which on these models, even though they don't have, or because they don't have a face, I mean, they have a face, but their helmet's on. The plume will be white. Every tassel is white. The undercloth is white. And I think, and all the, any kind of like loose cloth or loose band or strap, I make white. This isn't a complicated color scheme. It's just easy. For me, at least, because I'm not the most energetic painter. I just have to lazily go about what I'm doing. As long as it happens, that's what I'm good with. Yeah, Chris, I've wanted to try those little metal balls forever, and like Brian, one of the other guys that plays on the channel, he changed everything to the squeeze pots or whatever they are with that you can just, or the, I can't remember what they're called, but you just squeeze it and it drips it out, and you put little ball bearings and whatnot in them. Because he's productive with hobbying, and I am not. I just want to play games and film them, okay? That's such a crime. Chris, I love calling you out publicly, but I know you hinted at having the energy soon to be able to do another battle report. If so, have you considered A, how many points, 1K or 2K? And B, which army you'd want to play? And I guess what army you want me to play? I've got that list up now of what I'd like to play, but there's also the Stormcast shoot list, which is the same list it used to be, but add a Night Venator back to it. Which I'm only saying that for Chris, because anybody watching probably doesn't know what list I'm talking about. It's a non-ballista shooting list. Say that much. Just because I don't enjoy the ballista. I understand it's good and I understand how to use it and all that. I just don't care for it. It's not fun for me. Guess I'm a weird mix of player. I want to play competitively, but I don't want to play a competitive list. I've heard other channels like Mr. Mephisto and Haywo talk about the like categories, like Johnny's Spikes and whatever, or Carlos and Rodriguez and Cornelius's and whatever. I don't remember them all, obviously. But it's a cool cat. It's pretty great way to categorize everybody. Surprised I haven't heard that before. All right. My shoe cask can die in a fire. They can, and that fire is called mortal wounds. As they fold to mortal wounds, or being charged, or anything past round 1. But it's fun, damn it. But play it anyway. Oh yeah. Yeah, they were. Yay, Lumineth painting, taking a break right now from them. Have half the spears and Eltharion painted up so far. Yeah, I've had the box since it came out, and I feel you, because I'm about, actually, I'm not even as far as you are, I don't think. Because I have only painted I've painted the High Warden, 3 other spears, and Eltharion. And now I'm working on my 4th regular Warden right now. And let you know what you're seeing on the screen, VP. The bottom right is the finished Warden, so that's the color scheme I'm going for with these others. And then top right is a list that I want to film with next if you have any questions about it. I've seen so many awesome Lumineth models being painted. Just sort of intimidating because I am certainly not on that level. But I'm not letting that stop me. I'm going to paint mediocre or bad, but do the best I can and do it publicly. Look at me.
Yay, sucking.
It's a crime in some states.
It's a crime in most states, I think.
Fair enough. I don't know if y'all heard that. My wife walked in and said, I've got chips all over our baby. I'll be right back. Okay. She's a chip off the old block, eh? Oh, don't be jealous of my yellow. If you actually zoom in on the picture, you will stop being jealous of my yellow. I kind of do... I do 2 coats, one thin and then one I get impatient and make it a lot thicker. Usually on the second, but on this all I'm doing for the final version. Oh wait, that's funny. I started going to my yellow paint that was dry. I was like, where's all my paint? Wait, I'm doing white. You're just talking about yellow. I just do Averland Sunset and then shade it with Nuln Oil and then layer with Averland Sunset. Because I kind of like the darker yellow for what I'm going for, which is something. If you ever heard of Legends of the 5 Rings, I'm kind of following Dragon Clan color scheme with these guys, with the whole enlightenment and mountain theme. Thought it'd be cool. But yeah, I don't sweat it too much. If you look at it in person or like up close, if you like kind of put it right up to your face, you'll see how chunky it is. But on the tabletop, like far away, it comes across okay. So. Yeah, I mentioned something about stuff like that earlier, VP. I imagine that most of the community sees painted models on the table and they're like, good for you. That's way better than plastic, just gray plastic or just primer. You know, we appreciate it. I don't think I've ever heard anybody speak ill of a paint job in person, on social media, or anything. Literally, the worse, I say worse loosely, but like the worse it gets is they'll be like, hey, great job. Here's some hints, tips, and tricks on how to do better. And that is just, I think more communities and more things in life in general need people doing that approach. It is quite encouraging for all of us. I probably wouldn't be painting if it wasn't like that. Oh, me either, VP. Oh, we don't have any, like, I don't want to say high end. We don't have any, like, people that focus on painting at our store. Like, everybody paints their models, but everybody was also quite ecstatic about contrast paints coming out, to just put it that way. And, although there's a guy named Sheldon that plays Zinch currently, and before the Battle Tome came out, just throwing that out there. But he started with Night Haunt, and he painted all that stuff, and his stuff comes out really well. There's another guy that his name's Joel, but he makes scenery for our local game store. And just gives it to him. He like paints it and everything. It looks fantastic. So, I'm not sure what tangent I just went on there, but we don't have any pro painters at our store, but we have admirable painters. They're all better than I am, I can tell you that. You know, it's funny, just to get my stuff on the table and warrant me painting it, or talk myself into painting it, I don't always finish models. I rarely finish models, honestly. I get them kind of battle ready, that equivalent of battle ready that came out on Warhammer Community. There's a really helpful article. And then maybe a little better, but there's all kinds of details that I haven't finished that I want to do. And then I just go back eventually when I'm inspired enough to finish them. One example is Phoenix Temple. I've got a bunch of Phoenix Temple that I put on the channel, but they're flames on their capes. Like, most of the units don't have them. But as I get inspired, I go by and actually go through the details and paint them. But, like, I'll put them out there, I'll put them on film and all that before they're done. Like, I am willing to have a battle report with different quality painted models of my own, just because I don't want people to be scared of it. I figure if at least I can do something, it show people, like, if you're willing to play, that's really the best for most of us. Like, get your models out and let's play a game, please. Let's quit thinking so hard about how high of a quality your paint job is or what level it is. Like, we all want that, yeah, and like eventually we hope you paint it, but like, don't let that shy you away from buying models and playing the game. Is basically what I'm getting at. Like, don't make people think there's barriers to play Age of Sigmar, because there really aren't hardly any. There's just different levels once you get in of what you can do. It's like, yeah, we don't care. I don't care if you play with unpainted models. Like, sure, you want to go to a tournament, they're going to want you to paint it, sure. But, you know, day to day, getting a game in, you know what I'm going to be happier with? Playing a guy with gray plastic compared to not playing a game at all. Especially now, where it's so hard to even get games, if you're even allowed to get games in whatever state you're in. But just, while saying all that, I simultaneously want to encourage people to paint. Like get there. Just don't feel like you have to rush there or be there before you can even start playing. It'd be sad if I waited to play before I painted, because I probably wouldn't have played a game for the first year of owning any Warhammer models. Oh man, I agree about showing first models. I don't know if I have the pictures. I wonder if I have the pictures somewhere on my Instagram of some of the first models I painted. Well, some have been on film. Like the stuff I painted back in like 2000 something, early 2000s or late 90s, Dark Elves. I got some of those back within the past few years and put them on the channel. I didn't change the paint jobs or anything. I just left them as they were. And I'm like, well, they're on film. Enjoy. But there's no reason to be ashamed of a bad paint job, because the first step of being good at anything is being bad at it. So just keep going. Try to work on one new thing each time you paint. Or work on something until you're comfortable with it, and then eventually work on one new thing. Yeah, when I first started painting models, it was in, well, the Warhammer Fantasy era. Dark Elf armies. There were no... Well, I had just gotten internet. Dial-up internet, but there was no YouTube. There was no tutorial system. There was no Duncan Rhodes out there publicly helping the world of painters. So VP says he's been painting for less than a year. Now my first was the cheap shaft from the Warcry Splinter Fang box. I kind of want to melt him and put him out of his misery. Again, now you really want me to show my original stuff, because it looks like I melted it and put it out of his misery, but it's actually a paint job. Let's see if I can find it. may take me a minute. It's funny, I look back at when I started posting stuff for Age of Sigmar, and it makes me realize how long it's been, while simultaneously thinking it hasn't been that long since this game came out. 5 years, right? Oh, goodness. Yeah, I can't find any of the pictures. Oh, well, I'll try to... Oh, wait. I think it did. Just did. I've got the first model I figured out how to shade on. Oh, well, first model I used shaming on. Or shading. Not shaming. Okay, here we go. Let me put this over here. See if you can see it. Yeah, there we go. So this is 3 years ago, 4 years. Let's see. There's probably a date on. Anyway, when I first 2017, so 3 years ago, kind of. There you go. There's the first models I ever tried to paint when I got back into the hobby. Because I didn't even play back in Warhammer Fantasy. I bought Dark Elves, tried to paint them in my garage, my dad's garage, and then gave them to some friends. But getting back, the first time I actually tried painting, there you go. That's the glory that happened from that. And then, oh no, those are those orcs or goblins? D&D orcs or D&D goblins? I can't remember, because after and to give you an idea, the next night I painted a model after watching a Warhammer tutorial, because this is when they had that one series of the new set at the time, which was the only play set with the Stormcast and Khorne. Watched a shading video or watched a painting tutorial, and then painted that the next night. So I highly encourage anybody that's scared to paint to just go watch some Warhammer TV painting tutorials and just follow along with something for a model. It may not be the color scheme you want, but just try to follow it exactly, just to get the techniques down and just to get comfortable with putting colors on a model and how to use the different types of paints. I did a lot of pausing, a lot of rewinding, because after this I went and painted some Stormcast following the Warhammer TV tutorials, and that was my first set of Warhammer models after painting those to learn how. Is that? I think that was before they were shaded and everything. I mean, you can see it's not, like, obviously it's not great. They're still kind of caked, but it looks significantly better than what my first stuff did. And then is this? Here we go. There's what they looked like finished. Well, what I considered finished at the time. Anyway, I just wanted to show that. Maybe if I show my bad models, it'll inspire people to paint more. I'd be like, wait, this guy's willing to put that out there. I can do better than that on accident. I had terrible shaky hands, all that. I've kind of gotten better with it over the years, but still there. Like, not just YouTube TV either. Like, Vince Venturella has all kinds of videos called Hobby Cheating. He goes into very great detail about painting techniques and strategies and ways to get through painting your models that are all very helpful. There's all kinds of resources out there. They're all worth looking into, because I know a trap I fell into, and I know a lot of people fall into it as well, is comparing yourself to like golden demon level painters. And you're like, well, if it doesn't look like that, then it's not worth painting. That's just not true at all. I completely missed this tassel. Get that now. And it's like, don't be scared to just paint it. Don't care about comparing yourself to others. Just get paint on your model. Get better at painting yourself. Just be happy with your own progress. Like these, I've said it several times since I started these Lumineth. Like, I'm not going to win any painting awards with these Lumineth, but I enjoy it. I like looking at it, and it makes me happy to see them. It will make me happy to see them on the table once they're completed. I think, oh, there's the other second coat. I'm almost done with white on this guy. I'm sitting there thinking to myself, I need to remind myself once I shade this stuff to remember to let it dry. I'm so guilty of trying to paint layers and stuff before the shades dry. It doesn't look the best. So impatient, though. And once I'm finally inspired to paint, I don't want the moment to go away. Because it will, because I'm flighty. Alright, I think all the white. Just do the tassels, the plume, and any like cloth straps or straps that I can get to or care to get to. Now it is on to contrast, because I do contrast the skin inside the helmet, on the hands, and the shaft. Watch your mouth. I just do wildwood on the shaft. Occurs to me, you can't see the shield on the picture I have up on Instagram because it's just a high warden. But that is kind of, you know, hard to see on camera, but there's a completed warden. I'll be going through finishing all the models like this, and after the whole army's done, I'll eventually go back and do the ether quartz gems. I think I'm going to do them pinkish, like a rose quartz. Let's see, do I need white? No, I just said this. I'm going to do wraithbone on the pike shaft and the skin. And on the skin, I'll be going over with Sigmar brown. It's because I went with a dark skin theme for these guys, because, I mean, if they live on what is basically the sun of the mortal realms, it seems like they'd have darker skin. And then wildwood on the shaft. So assembling is stressful. There's always an arm or hand that wants to destroy my will to live. Preach. For sure. I'm not that. Again, going back to the whole patience thing. Honestly, I do have a hard time assembling, but these wardens were surprisingly easy to assemble. I didn't have any problem at all with them. The Dawn Riders were a little annoying, but I still have sub-assembled them to the point where the riders are separate from the horsemen, just so it'll make it easier to paint the horses. I used to not sub-assembly everything because I just didn't feel like keeping track of all that, and I just wanted my models together and wanted to play them. But since I have a bajillion armies now, since I have a problem, I'm allowing myself to take time on things and sub-assemble and not rush to get things on the board or on film or whatnot. So luckily, since I have a painted cities army, it's easy to get a lot of versatility without having to repaint stuff. So I don't know if the Lumineth won't be out there on the channel in battle reports as fast as everybody else, I'm sure, but they'll get out there eventually. Ah, dang it. There's straps right there. I forgot to paint white. Oh well. Get them here. Why am I trying to not touch the shaft with this? I'm using the same color. Sitting here trying to paint the hand and not get anything on the shaft when I'm painting the shaft too with the same color. Oh, I just realized there's one color I didn't get out. Grey Knight's Steel. I paint the blades of these Grey Knight Steel and then shade it. And I haven't decided how I want to layer them because I don't know. It says sun metal, but then if I do like typical Runefang steel and all that, it just looks like metal. But I don't know if I want to try to get creative. Do like edge highlighting of yellows or oranges and reds and stuff and kind of look like it's heated at the tip. Well as I can reproduce. I don't know. Seems fun. I've tried experiments on stuff that have failed, and that's okay. Important to try it, though, because then you know what it does. Again, I'm trying to be detailed here and realizing that I'm using the same color on the things I'm trying not to touch. Doesn't matter, just get it on there. Again, I just literally sprayed myself into a corner, though. I can't hit any of the armor with anything because of the color change spray I put on it. I can't recreate that with a brush. I only have it in a spray form. I have to make sure not to hit any of the green armor. And that includes when I eventually start edge highlighting on all of the raised parts with moot green. But that's future Jared's problem. So, VP Perf, since you're painting these Lumineth, do you have any plans on playing them, or do you just paint them for fun? I mean, or rather, do you just paint, or do you paint and play? Oh, future me. Our future selves. Those poor adults. If only they knew what was coming. My wet palette isn't so wet anymore, but I'm not gonna get up and fix it. It's funny, VP. That's the same thing that I was saying for the longest time. I was gonna skip them too because I wanted to wait for Malarians, elves, or monsters, or whatever they're gonna be, to come out, but I just couldn't help myself. Had to get them. What are you looking forward to the most playing them? Can't stand Teclis's model. Man, I totally get that. I love it, but I have no arguments for people that don't like it, because I totally get it. I don't know that I'll glue Teclis onto the same spot they want me to, but it'll still be there. No, I said I can't get anything on the armor while simultaneously having to paint the face inside here, but I edge highlight all of the raised parts that I'm hitting with moot green, so that's actually okay to hit that part with it. Man, battle cattle, yes. It's funny. I like the idea of elves with hammers, and I like the idea of the giant mountain cows, accountants, but they look like a lot of fun. I just neat. I have so many hordes that I think I'm just excited to have a non-horde army while still being elven, since I accidentally fell in love with elves of like every kind. Of course, when I was like 17 or 18, I had the Dark Elves when they were still Warhammer Fantasy. But I was like 100%. Ooh, it just almost broke the spear. But I was 100% into the Dritz Dordan Dark Elf novels for D&D. So I saw Dark Elf and was like, has to have. Yeah, get it. And then they were like nothing like D&D Dark Elves, especially the Witch Elves. But kind of the same. Anyway, that was a 17 or 18-year-old edgy me. Now I love them. Now I love them even more in Age of Sigmar, because I actually like this idea and the lore behind Darkling Covens. As minimal as it is, it still leaves a lot for making your own stories. And then obviously Phoenix Temple, just I love it. I love the look of Phoenixes. I like the fact that they're monks. I simultaneously like and hate the fact that Phoenix Temple are mute, because especially now with Soulbound, I feel like that's going to be a lot of lost story when you have these awesome characters that can't talk. I made a narrative, or started a narrative campaign a while ago, like a year or two ago, with them, and decided that they just use sign language. I was like, use Azurite sign language, ASL. But that could get tedious role playing if you don't know sign language, and just for trying to get through a conversation in a role playing game, which, I mean, I know the irony of saying that, and then people in real life being like, yeah, it must suck, who are actually deaf and or mutes and have to use sign language all the time. But point being, it is difficult. And I just don't want them to be lost and not represented as much in stories and lore just because of that. I love the whole process of becoming a Phoenix Guard, though. Is you want to be a fire or frost representative? If so, do you want to be burned to death or become one? Because those are your only two options. Or do you want to be frozen to death or become one? Because those are your only two options. Can't believe there's not more in their ranks. least they make that sweet, sweet 4-up feel no pain or ward save justified in the lore. Okay, got a second layer on his face. I'm really glad that I can just edge highlight my mistakes off here. I hate painting faces inside helmets. Like, I love how they look. Man, do I hate painting them. Especially details. Now it's like, you know what you get? You get contrast. I think he is about ready for shading and contrast. Well, I'm going to talk about this list for a second. Well, actually, I should shade first, and while it's drying, I'll do that. Oops, I hit a bunch of spots on his yellow robe with the white. Or the wraithbone, whatever. Let me fix that real fast. Touch up. The, not often spoken about best step of painting and how you can get through stuff is going back and touching up mistakes, or at least the most visible ones. Parts where you accidentally hit paint on something or your brush tapped apart. All right, now for shading, which is, or do I do my contrast first? Let's do the contrast first. We'll do the shaft. Because then once I get the shade, I can let them sit. And then I'll talk about this list while it's drying. You're watching Honest Wargamer covering a tournament. They talked about Sigmar. Is that Warhammer Age of Sigmar? Is that a shorthand for that? Being made by a couple of nerds who wanted everyone to be able to play. Yeah, that tends to help a game when you make it more inclusive for actually getting on the board and playing instead of... Well, I won't get into all that, but yeah, it seems like a better way to go about it. The Wildwood, I will switch brushes in a rare show. Put the contrast on because it spreads faster, and it seems like the faster you can spread contrast, the better it comes out looking. And I actually will not go from pot to model. I usually do, but here lately I've been experimenting with actually putting shades and contrast on the palette instead of being a lazy bum like I always am. And despite wanting it to be false, it really does help. Not that I ever denied it, I just am lazy. Okay. Make sure I don't hit his hands. Try to get as even a strokes as I can when I'm applying contrast, especially over wide areas. It seems like the wider the area you put the contrast on, the more blotchy it becomes. And you either just accept that, like I do, or try to get better, which I kind of do. Nowhere near as much as just accepting it. the longest time I just put it on like a shade. And now I put it on and then push the flat parts into the cracks and crevices. Like shoving the shading into the gaps and keeping the lighter colors on the flat surface. Doesn't really come across the same on a pike shaft like this, but I still try to go for my best. There we go. Pike shaft done. Sign hammer. Interesting. So VP says, sign hammer. They built a sign language helper so people who couldn't sign could play with deaf people. That's amazing, really. If you have a link to that, I would love you to post it. Because that would be awesome. Because I try to go by... I need to do this on some of my recent videos. I try to go through and clean up the captions on the YouTube videos because I want people to be able to read it if they can't hear it. Because really, it seems like you could easily play a game with a deaf person or someone that's using has to use sign language. Seems like it's a game that you could really play completely. And to know that that's out there, that's really encouraging, and I want to know more about it. Chris, if you're listening, don't let me forget to look that up. I want to see that. Now I am on to... Oh yeah. Crap. I'm on to more contrast and just put water in my brush. I'll dry it off. I'm going to do Sigmar brown for the skin tone. That was wildwood on the shaft. I'm trying to get very little on here. I will put it on the palette just so I can clean the brush off and dry it. And then get just the tip of the brush on full of paint so I can get inside that helmet and on the hands. Because Sigmar brown, I don't know where my medium is, otherwise I might use that. But man, Sigmar brown is a thick contrast paint. And it ends up just being a solid dark brown if you don't spread it right or you get too much on there. Really, it doesn't even take much to get to that point. A lot of the contrast paints are very different with how they show up. Man, VP, you're not kidding about Warhammer Nerds taking it up to 11 for helping people. Did you see any part of Mr. Mephisto's 27-hour rant cast that he did for mental health awareness? All right, here we go. Getting that beautiful face. I go back over the skin later and layer it with Bane Blade Brown, I think it is. You see, I've got it over here. Oh, Gorthor Brown. I layer skin, or I just dry brush, rather. I don't know why I said layer. I dry brush the skin with that thing I just said. Gorthor Brown. Yeah. Looks pretty good. And I'm eventually going to go back later and dry brush the shafts with a different brown, just to give it even more of a contrast from the skin tone, since I have two darks right next to each other. Thinking of varying the skin tones from like a... I don't know what the equivalents would be. All the darker skin tones. Doing a range of that. Unless I get lazy like this and use the same for everybody, which generally is what happens. I can figure out how to do like a good Latino type skin tone. I'll put that on there too. Just basically the equivalent of anything or anybody that lives close to the equator on Earth. Get those skin tones for here, just because it's basically the sun, so seems like it would be a good idea to have darker skin tones on these guys. Yeah, VP. There's a content creator, Mr. Mephisto. He's on Twitch. He has a YouTube channel too, though, where he posts his Twitch streams afterwards. So feel free to go subscribe to him there. He did a 27-hour stream, literally 27 hours. I think it actually even went over, and raised. It was just all people donating from the Warhammer community, the Age of Sigmar community specifically. Raised over $7,000 last weekend doing that. Pretty awesome. What am I doing? I keep going to wet my brush. Now I'm out of paint. Yeah, as far as gaming communities go, this is easily the best one I've ever been a part of. By a long shot, and that's saying something because I've been a part of really, really great ones. Like the L5R community was awesome. Legend of the Five Rings. This is all. I haven't played it since it got bought by Fantasy Flight. Not for any reason, just not for any reason against the game. Just past my time, and I was finally able to afford wargaming like I'd wanted to most of my adult life. Yeah, the Age of Sigmar community is insanely friendly and just overly awesome everywhere. Like, not just in person, but all over social media, in person, in stores, at tournaments. It is awesome. Those straps. There were some straps that I forgot underneath this. I don't know if it matters all that much because the shield's going to be covering it, but it's not that hard to get, so I'll get it. More of that Celestia Gray. Pop it on there, get a little bit of water. And just dab a little on those straps. There we go. That'll be good enough. So now that my contrasting is done, this guy is ready for shading. I don't overthink that. I just Nuln Oil everything, all the whites and yellows. And then just let them sit till that's dry. Alright, I'm actually going to get some of this out on my palette. Try to do this right so I can get water in it. My Nuln Oil is very old and it doesn't quite spread like it used to. If I get the right amount of water on it, it will spread more evenly. Yay, another use of Nuln Oil without spilling the pot. We're looking good tonight, folks. Alright, so all the whites. And this is just a preference, but rather than going back later and layering with a brighter version of the colors, I go back with the same color. Not all the time, just in this instance I will be. So the whites are Celestia Gray, and I'll be going back layering with Celestia Gray. Then highlighting with White Scar. All Citadel paints. And when I get to the yellows, I will layer with Averland Sunset, just like the color that's already there. And then edge highlight with Flash Gets Yellow. Trying to do a combination of getting these done quickly. Or for me, I know this isn't quick, but quickly for me, but also having a little more effort than battle ready, because it'll make me happy to see. But not going full on, like trying to present these in a competition. A happy medium. Like a happy little tree. I made an hour 15 in before I made a Bob Ross joke on a painting video. I feel good. Make sure the cracks are dark. And then I'll set him down. Ran out of paint. I'll set him down to let him dry, but I'll lay him down sideways so the stuff doesn't just pull at the very bottom. Oh, that's so much shade. Oh well. Almost talk about this list I've had sitting up here. I could now, but I can't think good. I'm terrible at multitasking, but I'm doing my best. Talking about the list without looking at it. Not gonna work for me. Alright. Got all the Noin oil on them. Put them upside down so it kind of goes back to where I want it. A lot in there. Now there's not enough. Back. There we go. All right, I'm gonna just let him sit sideways like this. Now I'll talk about this list. Didn't spill the pot. 10 out of 10. The part that everyone gets nervous about. I shall not throw much shade on this stream, and I shall not spill any shade. Alright, so I would like to try this list out in the next battle report we do, whenever that is. So its city's a Sigmar, but it's Anvil Guard. And I have an Anointed General because, as you can see here, I have 3 Phoenix Guard as battle line. Running a Battle Mage. Let me start over. My Anointed has Secret of Warlock, so he can cast Vitriolic Spray. Vitrolic Spray. Is it Vitriolic or Vitrolic? Huh. They're spelled differently on both of those. And I don't actually know how to pronounce the word. I know it's vitriol. Oh, yeah, it has to be vitriolic. Haha. Root words, they matter. So a Battle Mage has Vitriolic Spray as well. And he's from Hish, so he can have False Protection. But I have the 2 spells the same. I tend to do that kind of redundancy just to make sure it happens, or I have it where I need it on the battlefield. But he's the Adjutant as well, so they'll be running right next to each other anyway. Then Anointed on Frostheart Phoenix. And a Dreadlord on Black Dragon, because this is the list I want more models that I have fun with in here. It's a mixture of these are good things and these are fun things. But fun can be good too, dang it. And then Knight Azeroth, just because anybody being able to reroll 1s to hit is amazing. Then we got 3 units of 10 Phoenix Guard. 2 units of Drakespawn Knights. Since they dropped down to 130, that makes this list a lot more possible than it used to be, because they usually were 150. I think even before that, they were 160 or 170. They were crazy. 10 Shadow Warriors just to give me some deep strike. And a War Hydra, because I can. And a War Hydra with Acidic Blood is hilarious, because just the mind game of knowing it can heal and then giving it acidic blood, so when you hurt it, it hurts you. It's just a mind game. Now, I know that a War Hydra is 170, and I could just have another unit of Phoenix Guard for 160. 10 Phoenix Guard are way better than 1 Hydra, and cheaper, but I want a Dreadlord, I want Drakespawn Knights, and I want a Hydra, and I want to make it work. Even if it doesn't. They're too cool, the models are too cool, and I've got the old metal Hydra too. And it's just fun, because I can have my Phoenix Guard, I can have like a side of the board be Phoenix Guard stuff, or even like 20 of them to run away with my Frostheart, while 10 of them stay with my General and the Adjutant. And then the other side of the board can be all my Order Serpentis stuff running off and having fun. And then I can just drop the Shadow Warriors where I need them eventually. Because I tend not to drop them until turn 2 or 3. Then an Emerald Lifestorm, just because it's so good in cities, and bringing back even 1 Phoenix Guard when they die is very disheartening for the opponent. And the possibility of bringing back Drakespawn Knights, or even healing the Hydra if I need to. Just, I don't know, there's a lot of... I love Emerald Lifestorm in cities, with it being empowered. Sure, it empowers for your enemy or opponent too, but you can. It's a lot easier to position endless spells to benefit just you than it would appear. But just the look of this army is gonna be cool to me. Just having a big giant dragon and a big giant phoenix and all this infantry and all this cav mixed with the War Hydra. It's just gonna be a lot of fun. And I've gotten plenty of mileage out of my Hammerhall lists on the channel, so it's time to give Anvil Guard some more love. I guess this list technically doesn't have to be out of Anvil Guard, because I don't need the War Hydra as a battle line. I've got enough since I have a Phoenix Temple General. But like I said, I've gotten plenty of mileage out of Hammerhall, so I just want to try Anvil Guard out more. And Hallowheart, I had a list built for Hallowheart, but it had more than 3 endless spells, so I need to redo that. And I don't guess I mind that. But I can't decide. What do you think is better? 30 Blackguard or 30 Executioners? Because I can't decide which one I want to bump up to. I'm leaning towards the Blackguard because they seem to perform better. But my main reason is 30 Executioners won't get that many attacks in because they only have a 1-inch range on a 25 mil base, so that's 2 ranks deep. But the Blackguard have a 2-inch range. So all 30 could all easily get attacks in with the 3 ranks deep because of their 25 mil bases. But anyway, that's another list. Yep, VP, you're reading my mind. That's exactly it. I know it's a lot of stuff to bank on for not great ability, but it's so fun. I don't care. I really did go Anvil Guard just to get acidic blood on a War Hydra, and well, it's a combination. It's that. It's the Vitriolic Spray and the D3 extra command points with hidden agents. You'd say Blackguard too. Yeah, I think I definitely agree. My problem is Executioners look so cool. I've got another box. I have 20 of each right now, and my Blackguard are like 20 over like 3 eras of Blackguard, except for the newest. Well, by newest I mean the ones with like the skull helms. Or not the skull helms, but the kit that has the Executioner or Blackguard kit with the skull helms. It's just, but my Executioners all have the same sculpt. It's all the old metal sculpts with the real tall weapons. And I guess it's funny because I'm sitting here worrying about which one I should pick off of looks. But even with the Blackguard, it'd be funny to have 30 Blackguard with 4 different sculpts in it. Yeah, I'm convinced. Vitriolic Spray is awesome, and that's the other thing too, is if I go 30 Blackguard, even if I don't care about the Ren because Vitriolic Spray goes off, if it does, like getting 30 attacks in, well, 30 models, that'd actually be 61 attacks. I know I won't get that many, but just because, you know, a lot of them will die before they get into combat, theoretically. But just for the point, that's a lot more attacks getting in, and it's just getting numbers through when you have Vitriolic Spray, because everything's just going to happen with the no save. And it becomes where they're going to be so worried, by experience, they'll be very worried about Phoenix Guard. So they'll be scared of that. And then if I can make them worry about the Blackguard more... Well, my Hallowheart list won't have Phoenix Guard. It'll be It's all Darkling Covens themed. So it'll with what we're talking about, the Hallowheart list would be 20 Executioners, 30 Blackguard, 20 Dark Shards. And I don't remember at this point because it got a lot cheaper. My list got a lot cheaper, A, because of the drop in points on Blackguard and Executioners, and then being limited to 3 endless spells when I had 5 in the original list. Not to look at that, but so then I can see where I'm headed. I want to do Anvil Guard with this one because I've been working on it before, and now I got to change it up. Originally, before the points changes, this was a Flamespire Phoenix. But I went up 20 points on my Battle Mage, but then I went down 20 points on the Drakespawn Knights, and then another 20 points for the second unit of Drakespawn Knights, so I was able to actually change this to a Frostheart. Because I've been playing with Flamespire on purpose for a while now, just to make myself use him. And I'm way more aggressive with him. And I don't really think there's a reason to be. Or rather, there's not a reason to be less aggressive with a Frostheart, is more my point. But because of that whole I can resurrect and I can fly over you for mortal wounds, like I would naturally be more aggressive with Flamespire. But I really wasn't getting anything out of it. I was rarely ever using the flyover, just because it didn't present itself enough to warrant it. Also, I completely forgot to do the metal on the front of the halberd here. Let me go ahead and do that. But I just realized I need to take the attitude I had with the Flamespire Phoenix and just apply it to a Frostheart. Because A, either I didn't die with the Flamespire Phoenix, or I would fail the 4-up, so it didn't matter anyway. And to be honest, I rarely ever even got the opportunity to use the 4-up, because smart folks would just hurt my Frostheart or Flamespire until he was mostly dead and then just leave him alone. So if I take that same theory, or same approach with the if I take that same approach with a Frostheart Phoenix, I will likely get more benefit just by the fact that he'll have the -1 to wound aura. But now at least I know, and I made myself take the thing I knew I probably shouldn't. Sometimes I just have to experience it myself before I know. Saying that, though, I actually still think the Flamespire is very valuable and very good. Okay, so it's not just me having struggle on that flyover. Because it's so much better than it used to be, but still, you just... Usually when you're close enough to get a chance, you're in combat, and you would rather just be in combat, because he can easily do more than the 5 mortal wounds by just fighting. Especially if you have all your buffs off, which for me, when I say all my buffs, I mean being able to do Captain of the Phoenix Guard and having an Azeros nearby. Which, by the way, is a hellacious combo on Phoenix Guard. Because when you have 10 to 30 Phoenix Guard hitting on 3s, well, in Hammerhall I would do it, and I was hitting on 2s because of Twinstone. Because I would have a bird nearby just for the wide base on a 30-man unit, so the Holy Within 12 was easier to achieve. So they're a 30 Phoenix Guard, that'd be 61 attacks, something like that. Hitting on 2s, rerolling 1s, wounding on 3s, rerolling all. It gets quite brutal. Can't remember where I was going with that, but it's brutal. I feel like the only thing Phoenix Guard can't do is teleport. Or talk. There we go. Now we've got the pikehead, spearhead, pikehead, pike tip. The end of a pike called. The end of a spearhead's a spearhead, or a spear is a spearhead. Wait till the next GHB. Look, I swear at this point, I don't care how many points Phoenix Guard become, I'm gonna play him anyway. I love him too much. Alright, well I feel like the shade has dried. Pointy end, yes. Technical terms, that's what I'm looking for. Can't believe it's already dry, or it's been longer than I realize. But now I'm going to layer Haverland Sunset back on itself. Trying to stay away from everywhere the shade's settled as best as I can, which isn't very good, but still try. Sometimes I leave gaps of shade so big it almost looks like they're cell shaded. Alrighty. See here. You know, here's a question I don't think I've ever seen answered. It likely has been, but I haven't seen. When you're layering, do you do 2 coats? I only ever do 1, and sometimes I feel like I need to do a second. You know, there's all the talk about doing 2 coats on a base coat, but what about layered coats? How many coats on a layer? Or even an edge highlight. Do you just do 1 layer on an edge highlight, or do you do 2? Or even 3, or just as needed, or what? I don't know. I guess with everything, it's to your preference, but there are common rules that everybody should know, I guess. I need to know what rules I'm going to ignore. Multiple coats, however many you need. You know what, while I've got a thinner amount of paint on here, I'm going to go and hit the bottom of the cloak. I'll eventually edge highlight really just that part of the cloak with Flash Gets Yellow. I jump around all over the place when I'm painting. Like, I never just finish a section. I'm always like, all right, I'm almost done with this. Well, you know, I could finish over here now, and whatever. Still gets done. Hey, thanks for watching, VP. I'm glad you've been here. It's been fun to talk with you. If you haven't subscribed to the channel and would like to, I do rules videos and battle reports as well. This is the first stream I've ever attempted, so I'll probably end up doing it more as I paint, just because I might as well. I'm already sitting here painting. Might as well talk to people too. You made it rather enjoyable for me. This really helped me get through this model too, because I did not want to paint anything today while simultaneously really wanting to paint. How should I put that? I really wanted this to be painted, but I didn't want to paint. This actually encouraged me to get through it. I'm on to the fun parts now. Layering and highlighting. I enjoy those more than base coating. Going to have to dip into the paint? Probably so. Arms. Back. Neck. Arms. Hey, our yellow layer's done. Sweet. Now for... Real quick, we're going to shade that blade. And then we're going to move on to white highlighting. Will be Celeste Gray. We're just going to go straight out of the pot since it's just... Boop. And... intense. Enough to get it on there and not be splotchy. As I redo it 1,000 times. Alright. Attempt 2 with Nuln Oil and no spilled pot. It's the last time I'm getting it out too, so I made it through my first stream without spilling any shades. Alright. This is almost like the way I do this is almost like a hybrid of dry brushing and layering. Not dry brush, but I still get the paint really thin. Use it up on the robe part first. And then just barely touch all the plumes. When I hit the tops, I want to make it brighter, and two, to get the excess paint off. So I can kind of lazily bring it down. I start doing this before I even hit the model, and just slowly bring my brush down to let it tag the raised areas. Light dry brushing, but you have to be even gentler, because as often happens, you'll have too much brush or too much paint wet on it still, and then you'll end up just getting a big splotch on there, losing all your shade. Hey, there we go. Oh, the rest of the white stuff. The white stuff. Kind of the same concept on the tassels and the cloth areas. It or just enough will go up. Alright, there's my whites. Now it's going to be on to the fun part for me. Legitimately, I like this part. Doing all the different edge highlighting I will be doing. Get the moot greens on here. Edge highlight all the raised stuff on the armor, sprayed with the color changing, multicolor, whatever, green and copper. All right. I gotta lean in close when I do this kind of stuff. I don't need glasses, I just need to try harder to see. I have to remember to breathe when I'm doing this too. I'm just holding my breath until I gasp for air. No, I got it too wet. Oh well. Just have to blend in with your brothers. I think they're all brothers. I haven't had or noticed a obvious female sculpt in any of this. My favorite part is the symbol on the chest. How they can say it. It's their chest. I gotta move this weird to be able to see it. And I messed it up. All right. Let's see if I can get the paint off of here and pull this piece off that I hit and don't want to have paint on it. No, not really. It's there. Oh well. Which is the risk of spraying paint where you can't finish painting over, or that you can't hit with any other paint once it's sprayed. There's little moonbeams on this. Neat. One of these sculpts really help mediocre paint jobs look okay. Make good paint jobs look amazing. Quite happy with these okay looking guys. Alright, time for the sword. Pretty much all the green I'll be doing. Well, no, that's not true. There's his gloves. A little bit I'll do on there. More up top here. Alright, moving on to the white. And then I'll do the yellow since I only do the trim. Then I'll finish off with the white. So going on to Flash Gets Yellow for the trim. I've been excited every model of this army for me that these are a lot easier to paint than they appear to be. A lot of their beauty is in the sculpt, and you don't have to do a lot of painting to get it impressive looking. But if you can paint impressively, then it just really pops. There you go, there's the trim. Now for the white. This stage of getting them ready for the table and film is ready. And any other details past that, I can just do on a whim. So it takes me 2 hours per model, basically. 6, 8, 10, 12, 20. So I have at least 20 to 24 hours left to finish the Lumineth box. Although honestly, I can paint 2 at the same speed I paint 1. And I'll try a little harder to do so in the future. But for my first stream ever, I wanted to just have 1 model to focus on and see how it went. It was fun, so I like this. I'm going to do this more. Forget how quick this goes for me once I get to this point. All right. That is about all she wrote. Now, my clippers in here. I don't. Now I just take the shield that I've already sprayed and done some coloring and highlighting on. Cut them out, shave the edges, and then just edge highlight over it all. And then glue the shield on. And I'll have them to this quality, the quality of that Instagram picture. Here's what I have done so far of the Lumineth box. I'll get that shield done. Just do that off camera. There we go. That's it. That's what I have so far. They'll eventually be on the channel. It'll be fun because they look like a really interesting army to play. Neat. All right, Lumineth, thanks for watching. I really appreciate it. But now I'm going to go ahead and finish the shield up and get to bed. If you like the content, want to see more battle reports or rules videos or art sketches from Chris, and probably more streams like this. Hit subscribe. Otherwise, have a wonderful war game.